We're now rocking with the best. Who's the boxing show that's knocking out the competition? The kick-ass podcast that make you want to listen. The place where boxing fans and fighters rejoice. Thumbs up for Richie, you're listening to the fighter's voice.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Fighter's Voice Kick-Ass Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Ortiz. And you know what? We have a great evening in store for you. Our guest right now, he's having a little bit of technical difficulties, but he's going to join us as the show in progress. I got to keep going because we got some news to drop. Again, tonight's show is sponsored by criminal justice attorney Miles Harris in Fresno, California, and also Pound for Pound CBD. You can catch them online, and it's sponsored by Mikey Garcia, who is the headline of our topic tonight, him and Regis Pro Grace. We're going to talk about that possible matchup, and we're also going to go in depth with Manny Pacquiao and the one and only Errol Spence Jr. When I say the one and only, it's because, you know what, I'll use the word finally. He's been stepping up, and it's just the competition. I mean, he's taking them on. He's not ducking or dodging anybody. We're also going to talk about Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, but and also the 140-pound division and how stacked it is, and how these young contenders are waiting to fight for the belt. But right now, our champion is Regis Pro Gray, and looks like our guest is joining us right there. Hey, how you doing, Rich? I just need your volume there, my man. Go to the volume button, hit that one.
Okay. How you doing, man? How you doing? Yeah, we're having little problems, but I got it.
You made it happen. It's just like one of those fighters, man, that gets kind of knocked down in the first round. And all it is a flash. He's not hurt. He's not out of his game plan. It was just a flash knockdown. Now he's ready to go, and now he's warmed up. Ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce our guest, again, I'm going to talk about, so he's in the loop. Our topic tonight is we're going to talk about how stacked the 140-pound division is. I mean, not just with a unified, undefeated, and well-deserved champion, Josh Taylor, but the athletes that we got moving up to 140 pounds, and also the former champions who'll be fighting for a vacated bouts soon, and that's in store with us, and also some fighters moving down as well. And then we're going to talk about Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and of course, like I said, Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence Jr. But ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our guest. But before then, let me say a little something. This man, Big Rich from Boxing Facts. I mean, talk about a skyrocket. Talk about a bullet. If I was a DJ with music, I would say number one with a bullet, because I mean, his media show, his podcast, his YouTube channel is just blowing up. It's on fire right now, and I'm just fortunate just to get him now before he forgets us. People like us. But I mean, the man has started from the ground up. I mean, when we would do shows together, I would see him backstage and we would get our hustle on. But I'm going to tell you a little story before I introduce you to him. There was one time he got there before I did. And he looks at me and he says, "Hey, Rich, go ahead. You go first." And I did. And I thanked him for it. I mean, but that just shows the type of person that he is. Class act, hands down. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the one, the only, Mr. Big Rich from Boxing Facts. Welcome to the show, Rich.
All right, man. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that, man, and I honor you, man, because, man, you showed me what it's like to have class. And first time I seen you, had a suit on with a tie, and I knew right then and there that I said, this guy right here is who I want to model after. You know what I'm saying? He's got class, and I love that about you, Rich.
Well, you know what, man, and I say it in the boxing ring, but also with media, man, iron sharpens iron, man. And, there's enough love to go around. And unfortunately, in this business, some people don't like to give up that love. They want to try to keep it to themselves. But at the end of the day, man, hard work and the grind is going to prevail. And what type of person you are, it's going to be contagious, and it's going to rub off on people. And you rubbed off on me, my man.
Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
We got another podcast going on just as we're going on, and you can't go wrong. So I'll go ahead and say it. I'll endorse it, ladies and gentlemen. Also tune in to Robert Garcia's Unfiltered. They got news breaking that's on the top of the hour, and we're also going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it lightly, and we're going to close the show with it. But I do want to say that you heard it first on the Fighter's Voice when we've had Regis Pro Grace on the show and also Mikey Garcia. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like it's going to happen. It looks like they're going to get it on. Today, Mikey Garcia posted a picture of Doc Holliday, and it says, "I'm your Huckleberry," and he tagged Regis Pro Grace as if to say, you know what? Search no more. I'm the one. There's no reason to look. Don't look to the left or to the right. Just stay focused and keep your eyes on me because it's time. We don't need a belt. All we need to do is sign on the dotted line. Let's make it happen for the boxing world. Let's make history together. Regis Prograis, Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia will be moving down from 147s, possibly at a catch weight, or maybe all the way down to 140s. If that takes place, Rich, I want to ask you this because Regis said over and over again, he said, I'm interested only in the belts, but a fight with Mikey Garcia, I'm willing to meet him at 143. Mikey possibly pushing for 144. We'll go 143 and a half. We'll make it happen. I even said, hey man, let's get you both on the show and let's talk about it. What's your take on this news, on it breaking? Is it going to happen?
Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, in my opinion, that's going to be one hell of a fight. It's a tall order, in my opinion, for Regis Progress, but Mikey, in my opinion, just happened to be one of my favorite fighters. So I'm kind of biased in this, you know what I'm saying? But it's gonna be a hell of a fight. I know that, and it could happen because at the end of the day, you know, I think Regis Progress, he wants to really make a name for himself. I think he had that fight with Josh Taylor and he lost that fight. So this is like a fight that's outside of that. If he can pull this off, that will separate himself from Josh Taylor. And maybe a super fight down the line.
I agree. You know what? Without mentioning names, I did mention the name Mikey Garcia to other contenders in the 140-pound division, and they won't say no, but they'll kind of go around and they'll say, well, okay, you know, I'm going to take a fight first, and then I would love to fight him. But with Regis, he said, absolutely, right now, let's go. I'm ready. There was no, well, I need to do this first, or, you know, maybe down the line. No, he said, let's go. Let's make it happen. I'm ready right now. I mean, there's people that'll take that fight and they're thinking, I'm going to be honest with you. They're thinking numbers. Regis Prograis is thinking victory first. He knows he's getting paid because he said on the air, this, and I'll quote, both me and Mikey will make a shitload of money, but let's fight first and foremost.
And that's another thing. I think that's like these new fighters, like these brand new fighters that just hopped on the scene. I don't think that they're too scared about losing their zeros. You know what I mean? Like when I interviewed Devin Haney, he didn't even care about losing a zero. You know, which in boxing that's huge. It's not like the UFC where you can have like 3 or 4 losses and you still be the champion and all that. With boxing, it's all about that zero. But these guys are not. They're not afraid. These guys are not afraid to lose that zero. They're ready to fight.
And, you know, I'm glad you ran into the ones that aren't afraid to step up and dare themselves to be great. Because there's a lot of them that want to just hold on to that, and they're careful. And I understand they're in the middle of their career of transitioning from a prospect to a contender, and in doing so, you know, nowadays, I mean, back in the day, you know, you take a loss, it wouldn't set you back as much as it will today. But there's so much opportunity now. There's so many belts, and that's one thing I do want to talk about. Regis Prograis said, look, I want to fight him, but let's not get this mistaken. I want to be champion and get at 140 pounds. Let's do it for all the bouts if we're going to do it. I don't think that's going to happen right there off the bat, but I'm going to go ahead and take a shot, man. Shots fired after this. I mean, the WBA, they're giving away belts all the time. Why not let these two guys fight for a WBA belt? I don't know how many belts they got. It's like you go see a movie. One's rated R, one's rated PG, PG-13, one's rated G, one's rated X. I mean, come on, man. I mean, one bout only. I understand and I respect the way the Ring magazine recognizes you, and that's quite an honor. But when you start having 3 bouts by the same organization,
right?
You know, I mean, even when you use the term interim, I would only use that in case there was an injury or step aside Doe, but not even really recognize them with a belt. Just call them an intern champ. But everybody wants that strap around them, and you know, the only unified champion is Josh Taylor at 140 pounds, in my opinion. If the WBA wants to give away belts, well, then they can send us one, and I'll put it in the back, and it'd be a beautiful prop.
Right. Because, and then on top of that, the WBC, they added the franchise belt. So it's like they're adding all these belts. They got so many belts that's going around, and Barrio's fighting. He's in the same division, and he's fighting Tank. So it's all kind of stuff that's going on in terms of these belts. I think it's too many, and to be honest with you, I just think that it should be either like one or two belts, or maybe, but they got too many now, especially with that franchise belt that's supposed to be a belt that's not a belt. That's, you know what I mean? And that's even confusing in itself.
Well, okay, say you're an organization, okay? The more bouts you get, the more sanctioning fees you get, because they got to pay sanctioning fees every time that they defend that belt. It's like a monthly, it's like a lease, and they got to pay to hold on to that. So there's a little something that comes out of them. So in a business standpoint, I see where they're going, but us and the fans, who is the true champion?
Right. Well, I think and at the 140, I think Josh Taylor proved himself from the fighters that he fought, that he is the man at that weight. Now, I don't know if Bud's gonna fight Josh Taylor, but that would definitely be a good fight too.
Well, that would be a good fight. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Josh is going to defend at home, make that ring walk with all four bouts, and then vacate and move up to 147 and dare himself to be great. But the thing I'm talking about, Rich, if he does, it's just going to be possibly a mandatory or wherever Bud's at, because come October, Bud's gone.
Well,
let's think about that. It may just be, I hope it's not a difficult fight to make, because, Taylor's with top rank, Bud's with top rank right now as well. But unless they keep this man busy, I don't see him wanting to stay.
Yeah, I don't either. But I do remember what Bob Arum said. Bob Arum said that Bud's gonna be with him forever. So
I remember that too. He compared him to Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah, so I don't know. You know what I mean? I think Arum had a problem with not able to make the money that he wanted to make with Bud, but he's got Josh Taylor too. So now, I mean, he's got all these great guys with all these great belts and all these great champions, and I just don't think he's like moving them right, in my opinion, because these guys should be making a lot of money, especially Josh Taylor. He got 4 belts.
Well, I think Josh Taylor's going to move up. I think he's going to dare himself to be great. I don't think he's going to fight Teofimo Lopez, and Teofimo can start barking all he wants. That may have worked where you put the pressure on Lomachenko. We all wanted to see it. Josh Taylor's his own man. He doesn't need to move down, and he doesn't need to prove anything else in the 140-pound division. He beat the best of the best already. So if he moves up, it's not going to be that he's running from all that competition. But I will say this: he's moving up at the right time. Now, if he was to just camp out and say, you know what, I'm going to stay at the 140-pound division and dare myself to be great with the likes of a possible rematch with Jose Ramirez, Cepeda, Arnold Barboza, Mikey Garcia, Regis Prograis with another rematch. You got Tank Davis moving up, Teofimo Lopez moving up. Can you imagine if he stood down and tried to pull a Marvin Hagler and just clean out the division?
Yeah, that'd be amazing, because you still got
who do we have at 140 as well? I might have missed somebody. You kind of froze up on me, Rich. But you know what? I am going to say this. Oh, go ahead, my man. Yeah, you kind of froze up again. Actually, that's a great picture, though. So I am going to take a screenshot of that and send it back to you, man, because that's a great picture where it froze up right now.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll send you my internet service too, or something, man. Because mine was doing the same thing before I upgraded. I think I'm paying like $2 more now. My man. Well, I'm gonna go on, Rich, because you're kind of frozen. I'm gonna let you jump back in, like last time, because the whole Zoom thing, man. It's give and take. And speaking of give and take, I want to talk about Regis Prograis and Mikey Garcia once again, because we talked about that in the top of the show. Not only would that be a great fight for the fans, it'd be a great fight for both Mikey Garcia and Regis Prograis, kind of the champion without the belt, because whoever wins that fight, and all eyes are going to be on that fight, they're going to be called the people's champion. Say Regis Prograis wins, we'll just say that he's going to be called the people's champion. Mikey Garcia, we'll say Mikey Garcia wins in fine fashion, he's going to be considered called the people's champion. Now, I know some governing body is going to bail that fight out. When I say bail that fight out, they're going to reward that winner with a belt. If I was the WBC, I'd come up with another belt, just because that winner, you want them to represent your governing body. The WBO should come up with something, the IBF, whoever it is. And not to contradict myself, because I said there's too many belts, that is a championship without the belt. So if we're fighting and giving away all these belts, why not give it to these two who very well deserve a belt? And that's not taking anything away from Josh Taylor. That would just make it very considerable for him wanting to stay down. I would like to see Josh Taylor maybe consider staying down before moving up to 147 to take on the winner of Mikey Garcia and Regis Prograis. Reason being is because that has a nice ring to it. The rematch, Josh Taylor against Regis Prograis. Josh Taylor versus Mikey Garcia. Mikey knew what he was doing. And I'm going to say this too. I wish Rich was on the line right now. After the Ramirez fight, Mikey went up to Josh Taylor, showed the gentleman that he is, and he said, "Congratulations, you won fair and square. You did one hell of a job." Now, you boxing fans out there, you're probably going, okay, where are you going with this, Richard? If you think he was just congratulating him and that's all he was doing, you're sadly mistaken. When he shook his hand and he looked at him, Mikey was already sizing his ass up, as if to say, I'm going to shake your hand. I want to feel your grip. I want to size you up because I want to know the impact of my right hand landing on your chin. I'm looking at you dead in your eyes, and I'm already sizing you up. Mikey is very crafty. Mikey is very smart, very intelligent, and he handles his own business. We need more Mikey Garcias in this world. Promoters and managers are probably thinking to themselves, well, not promoters. Promoters get along with him. Managers are probably saying, my gosh, Mikey, you're taking me out of a job. I no longer have a job because you're managing yourself. You do have a good team around you, but you handle business yourself. That's why I know that fight's going to happen, because you stepped out. You said to yourself, it's time. I'm going to make this fight happen. You went out and you posted today, I'm your Huckleberry. Regis did reply, and he says something to the effect like, let's get it. Let's go. When I saw that, I posted a picture of both of you together that we've had previously on the show. And I said, say when. And I asked your thoughts, gentlemen. Regis Prograis, he liked it. Mikey, you must have been training or something, because I know you'll like it as well. I'm looking forward to this fight. I know it's going to happen. When a fighter that holds the cards says, okay, let's do this. Although you do need a dance partner, and Regis is ready to go. He said, hey, I'll take the fight. Now let's just find out if exactly that is true. My question is this, Mikey, is it going to be at a catch weight, or is it going to be at 140 pounds? If it's at 140 pounds, I think one of these governing bodies need to step up and put a belt on the line, or a mandatory, or whatever. Give it some kind of tag. If it's a catch weight, it doesn't matter. People want to see this. We want to see this. It's great for boxing. I'm going to touch on that too, but I'm going to move on right now. I want to talk about, once again, the 140-pound division. And I'm going to give my opinion on it, and I'm going to let you know on what I think about it. I think that after Josh Taylor does vacate the belts, because I think eventually, I mean, I met the man. He's a very tall frame, slender guy, but he can put on the weight of 147 pounds. Rich, you're back, my man. How we doing? Hey, Rich, you're cutting in and out. Like, remember when Darth Vader was losing his power and he
Yeah.
got hit with that phaser? See again. You know what
Okay,
I mean?
hold on. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna be stable 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Remember Princess Leia says, "You're my only help."
Okay, I'm stable now. I'm stable.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Okay.
you good? I can hear you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of these. Okay, I left the scenarios. We'll say Josh Taylor vacates and moves up. All these belts are vacated. What fighters do you think should fight for these vacated belts?
I think in 140 you got Robert Easter.
Okay, yeah.
You got honestly you know, the way I look at it, Teofimo Lopez, after he gets past convulsives, he's too big for that weight, for
I agree.
135 pounds.
I agree.
So he's gonna be fighting for them belts too. You
I
know, and
agree.
then you got Devin Haney. I know Devin Haney's too big. Actually, Devin Haney's too big to be at 135 too.
I
So
agree.
you got, and he's growing into his manhood. You know, he's still growing into being a man. You know what I mean? Devin Haney. So these guys are going to be, you know, all of them. I guarantee you, all of these guys that we're talking about in the future is going to be fighting at 147. You know, I know they're at 135 right now, but these guys are so big that they really have to struggle to make weight. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that was well, I can't speculate like that. That'd be wrong for me to do that with Teofimo Lopez. But you know, these guys are getting big. That's all I can say.
I agree with you on Teofimo. I mean, his mass and his shoulders, and I told him that. I was joking around with him when I was talking to him in Vegas on the rematch with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. I said, my man, you look like a running back or a safety in the NFL. I mean, because of his shoulders and just the way he's built. And let's not forget about Arnold Barboza at 140 pounds.
Yeah.
And again, you know, Jose Ramirez, he's still in that loop. You know, one day that didn't go his day does not define his whole career.
No, he's definitely Ramirez is definitely gonna be fighting for them belts in the next year or so. You know, and then maybe 2 years, he's gonna be fighting for all those belts because you know, he's been fighting for a while at that weight, and I really thought he was gonna capture all those belts. I really did.
Well, these guys are all going to be fighting each other. And, you know, like, again, we talked about Mikey Garcia is now going to drop down. Regis wants another shot at a world title at 140 pounds. Now, if I was playing matchmaker, I'm going to put some fights together. I'm not going to put them all together, and then I'm going to get your opinion on it. If I was playing a matchmaker, I'm going to start with Jose Ramirez for a vacated belt. Although they do have the same manager with Rick Murrigan, I would love to see, and it would be a barn burner. Jose Ramirez and Arnold Barboza. You're talking about two guys just meeting in the middle of the ring, might as well fight in a phone booth. But I do not see that happening. But I do see Jose Ramirez, and I'm going to go out and say it, for a vacated bout, fighting Teofimo Lopez. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think that would be a very, very good fight. But I think, in my opinion, Jose would have an advantage over Teofimo Lopez because Teofimo Lopez, I think he would have a problem with Jose. I really do. I mean, just styles, because styles make fights, and I just can't see Teofimo beating Jose Ramirez. I just can't see it.
In the other matchup, of course, it looks like it's going to happen. I mean, I can't wait to see that matchup. I can't wait to see this fight and it get closer to fruition. Is Regis Prograis and Mikey Garcia.
Oh my God! If that fight happens, I swear to God, that would be like a blessing from God. Because if you talk about two people who is not gonna stop throwing punches into the 12th round, and somebody's getting knocked out. And I know Mikey Garcia and his power, man, he's got that late round knockout power, man. I'm talking about 8th, 9th round. You know what I mean? And it'd be a blessing if that happens. That would be a blessing for me because Mikey Garcia is my favorite fighter, and I know Regis Progress, he's coming up, so he's like a hell of a fighter too, and that would just be a hell of a fight. I would love it.
That would be a good fight. You talked about Tank Davis possibly moving up, and if so, who would you match him up with? That's if he is able to be successful this Saturday, or if not, Devin Haney. Who would you like to see him being matched up with at the 140-pound division? And let's not forget about Cepeda.
I think, in my opinion, I think Devin Haney should fight Robert Easter since he haven't had a fight, and I think
That'd be a good matchup.
Yeah, that'd be a good matchup. That's for Devin Haney for right now. And then I think we have Tank. I don't see Tank right now moving up in weight. I just think that 135 is good enough for him. He was fighting at 130, and I just think that 135 right now for Tank is good. Now maybe in about, because remember, all these guys are young. These guys are young kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So another 2 years, if Tank can work his way up to fight to 140 and fight a couple of fights, like I would like to see him fight maybe 1 or 2 fights before he fought Barrios. You know what I mean? I just would like to see that. But in my opinion, this is just my opinion, to me, it looks like a setup fight because Barrios is 6'1". He's going to be probably 250 pounds when they fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he can crack too.
Yes, he can.
I mean, we know Tank can crack, but Barrios can crack. So, in my opinion, it was a setup fight because of, Tank's becoming a liability. We don't know what those 14 charges is going to be. Those 14 charges, we don't know how that's going to play out. But he's becoming a liability, and I see another fighter, Jerome Enos, on the scene who fights just like Tank. He's not signing anybody. He's always on. He's got a good defense. He's always in the gym. You don't have to worry about him losing weight and gaining weight and doing all that up and down stuff. And I just see that PBC and Floyd signing him. Because and replacing Tank. It happens in boxing. Look what happened to Mickey Bay when they wanted Mickey Bay out of there. You know what I mean? Mickey Bay was a champion.
Yeah.
And that setup fight in Florida, I'm sorry to say setup fight. I don't like to do conspiracies. I'm just telling you what's in my mind, because in my mind, I could never see Tank fighting somebody like a Barrios at 140. I just can't see it right now.
I was very surprised.
Maybe in about a year or two, but not right now. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's a signal. They want to see if Tank can try to grab another belt or something, or try to grab, some more respect or something, put some respect on my name. I don't know. But I just think that it's not the fight. And if I was Tank, I would get out of it.
Well, I mean, it's scheduled. And it's going to happen Saturday on Showtime pay-per-view. So make sure you tune into that. And let's talk about Lomachenko. His fight, he's also fighting a taller guy. That's going to be a bigger guy. Although I don't see his opponent being very strong in the stretch. But Lomachenko, he's not taking an easy match for sitting back. He's putting in his mind frame, I won the last fight, so why am I going to fight somebody easy?
Right.
I'm going to fight as if I won. And that's the same mentality Jose Ramirez needs to have in his next outing. Fight the fight as if you won mentally. Because according to Regis, he went and said on the show, on the Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters, I beat Josh Taylor. So
that was a hell of a fight. When I seen that fight was a hell of a fight between him and Josh Taylor. I mean,
but he put in his mindset that he won the fight. That's how you win the mental game.
Right. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't want to see. I mean, Tank, he's already scheduled, like you said. So we'll see. You know what I mean?
Well, one thing that we are going to see in August is the senator Manny Pacquiao, eight division champion, the eighth wonder of the world. Um, so far, he's been able to beat Father Time every single time, and we all know Father Time is undefeated. When he shows up like the Reaper. It's time to go. He doesn't rob you of your power. He doesn't rob you of your skills. He doesn't rob you of your reflexes. He robs you of everything. He just says, it's time to go. I'm here now. I
Right.
came to collect. Until that time comes, somebody please tell Manny Pacquiao, why is he moving as fast as he ever moved? Why does he continue to have that power? Why does he continue to step up to the plate when nobody else wants to? Why does he continue to defy the odds? You got to remember, he was not the favorite when he fought Oscar De La Hoya. He gave up a massive weight in height. That was De La Hoya's error by trying to lose too much weight to keep his speed when he should have imposed his will. But you know, that's a down the line. Manny Pacquiao is daring himself to be great. I mean, the Garcia fight didn't happen. The Crawford fight didn't happen, and he's not taking any steps back. What's your take on that fight, and what's going to be the outcome in your opinion, or is it too early for you to tell right now?
I honestly believe that it's going to be a good fight. It's going to take Errol Spence about 4 or 5 rounds to try to figure Manny Pacquiao out because he's the most awkward fighter that's out there, and it's even hard to get a sparring partner that can do what Manny does because a lot of things that Manny does is the wrong thing to do, but he's able to do it with those
Yeah,
thick ass legs he got, and he bounces
those
around.
calves,
Boom,
huh?
boom, boom. Yeah, so it's gonna take Errol Spence a while to figure him out. You know what I mean? And I just don't think that I don't know. Errol Spence, he might pull it off. You know what I'm saying? He might pull that one off, but it's gonna be a hell of a fight. I know that. I can't wait for that one either.
I mean, you would think someone like that would want to have a farewell fight or call it a career. No, man. I mean, he's continued to do what he's done best, and that's take on all comers. Um, we'll just say this: say a victory by Manny Pacquiao. Is he in the same sentence in the top three in the world as greatest of all time because
Oh
of
yeah,
his achievements?
yeah, because of all the fighters that he fought, and because of who he is. You know what I mean? Like, um, he's the type of fighter, man, that literally was a little guy fighting guys at 154. And I don't know if people know that it's very hard to go up from 126 and fight people that's 154 that they're going to bloom back up to 165 and you know what I mean 170. He was beating those guys, knocking them out actually. You know what I mean? So he's already in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
Got a great team around him. Sean Gibbons, Viva Sean, Cutman, Mike Rodriguez, and of course, the Hall of Famer, Freddie Roach. And just his whole advisory team, man. And, you know, he has the whole Philippines supporting him, man.
Yeah.
I'm already calling him a winner just for taking on that fight. And we'll talk more about it as we get closer. And, you know, let's make it clear who I'm rooting for. But facts are facts. And that's why you're on the show, Boxing Facts. So that's why I needed to ask you, because you always bring facts
Yeah.
to the show and into your YouTube and into your platform. So, you know, I want to talk about that. It's not the end of the show yet. So I don't want to wait to the end of the show to do that. Rich, talk to us about your career. What started you in the sport of boxing? And man, that fire that you're on right now with your whole platform, man. And where can you be reached at? And how can we follow you?
Well, everybody they can reach me at on IG because I mostly be on IG and YouTube, but IG under Real Boxing underscore Facts, and then YouTube is just Real Boxing Facts with Big Rich. But what started, I was like 14 years old, and I used to get in a lot of trouble at school. And one day, one of my friends, that used to box, he said, "Hey, won't you come to the boxing gym?" So I went to the boxing gym, and I fell in love with it. You know what I mean? And I started boxing in Oklahoma, and I loved it. You know what I mean? Because actually, boxing is the only sport where if you have stress or that rage or whatever, you can go to the gym and get it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got to a place in sparring when I came to California, and I started in the East Oakland Boxing Association. Um, and I ended up fighting heavyweight because I was at like 210, and people don't know when you're in between those weights, you're gonna be fighting guys at 240, 250, 260.
Yeah.
That's just the way boxing is, you know what I mean? So if you fight somebody at 190, they're just like a heavyweight, but smaller and can move faster. But then if you fight the heavyweights, they're slower and but they hit harder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just a situation where you have to really love boxing to really be in those weights. You know what I mean? Because you will take a lot of pain in sparring.
So when the boxing career ended, whether it was knee problems, knuckle problems, or it just wasn't for you, I have my own take on that. When did you realize, hey, I want to start a media outlet? I want to get involved, and also I want to make a difference, and I want to provide a platform.
Well, years ago, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I think that's what it was when me and you met. Maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I don't remember. I know it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Um, I started off me and my partner like Kareem Mayfield. I know he's the one that Floyd Mayweather called out in his last fight. He called Kareem and Berto out. He ended up fighting Berto.
Yeah.
But me and Kareem, we created an app called Sports Connect Us. And it was a social media app for trainers and boxers and people that's in the sports. And it was a beautiful thing that we created. And so I started off doing that. I started off promoting that, and that's where I was doing a lot of interviews, and that's where I ran into you out in Fresno a bunch of times. And actually, we was all over California and LA. We was everywhere. But I ended up like promoting that, doing interviews for Sports Connect Us, and that's where it started. And then one day, somebody said maybe you should create a boxing page. So I created the boxing page, and just been going on from there. You know, and I kind of like met a lot of people in the game, and gave a lot of good interviews with a lot of good people. You know what I mean? And it's been a blessing ever since, man. And and watching you, you know what I mean? It's a blessing to sit up there and watch you do your interviews and you do your shows, man. I love it, man. I love the whole thing because I know you're very passionate about it, and I am too. You know what I mean? And that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I remember bumping into you at Andre Ward's fights, Hayward, California, Oakland, California, and I'll just be on the grind in Las Vegas, and all of a sudden I hear Rich. I turn around, and I see you. I said, "That's my dude already." I could just be. You can see me beelining, but I'll stop because I know that voice.
Right. Yeah, and then it's like Rich and Rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it's always been that, man. It's been beautiful though. I love it though. I just love the sweet science of it. Um, a lot of people didn't like when Floyd just fought. Um, I don't want to see Floyd fight a real fighter,
No.
and I'm glad he hasn't in 5 years. You know what I mean? But I always want to see Floyd just get in there and move around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I love the way he fights, and him and Roy Jones and them type of fighters, man. I used to like a fighter named Joppy. You remember Joppy?
William Joppy.
Yeah, William Joppy.
Yeah.
He was like that too, and he got knocked out one fight, and I haven't seen him since. That was prime up.
Yeah.
That's boxing, though. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, I mean, I was a fan of a lot of fighters. Nassim Hamed, Thomas Hitman Hearns, and I mean, and the list goes on to, even Cassia Zhu, who his son is doing awesome. Still has that power, and is a clone of his father.
Wow.
Speaking of a clone of their father that had all the attributes, and he would always get this early in his career. Well, you're not your dad, but I would always say, well, who is? And I'm talking about Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Right.
I think he had a lot of that as far as the talent, the chin, the power. He just didn't have that training hunger.
Yeah, that work ethic.
There you go, that work ethic.
Right.
Last Saturday, he got beat by Anderson Silva. Okay, I mean his second boxing match ever as a pro. Didn't anybody tell Julio Cesar Chavez, look, you're not just representing yourself
Right.
in your father's legacy, but you're representing boxing as a whole. And you're gonna let this MMA fighter, and I don't want to, no disrespect to Anderson Silva, because he's not just an MMA fighter, he's an athlete. But I thought for sure, Rich, he was out of his element.
I did too.
When he did the media workouts, now I know he all lured us. He was flat-footed. He was actually hitting the mittens like Stephen A did the other day. Remember Stephen A?
Yeah.
He was actually kind of reminding me of that. He looked like an MMA fighter trying to box. Lo and behold, the last thing to go was his legs and his stamina. I thought he boxed circles around Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. because Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. allowed him to do so. I told my girl going into the fight, look for the right hand from Julio and then the left hooks to the body. But when he got that, when I say he, Anderson Silva picked up that momentum and that pedigree that he has, and he dared himself to be great, and he decided to 100% believe and jump into it and committed to it, it was a wrap. There was no turning back after that. You cannot take the confidence out of a man's eyes when he is completely 100% without a shadow of a doubt confident that he will not only defeat you, but school you. And school you, he did.
Right. Yeah. I don't know where Chavez go from here, but if he's
Jake
still
Paul.
young, he's still young.
Yeah.
But if he really want to take this boxing thing serious, he still has an opportunity to actually get a trainer and get a conditioner coach and actually put in the work and become something. It's crazy that I'm saying that, but I still see a lot of potential in him. You know what I mean? And I think I see a lot of his father in him. You know what I mean? Honestly.
I do see him competing at light heavy and possibly cruiserweight. The very next day, a couple of days afterwards, he did post on his Instagram him working out. If he was to just commit one time, honestly, he can be. And I'm gonna say this again. I'm gonna say this on the show right now, and everybody's gonna shoot me down and say whatever. He can become world champion again at possibly cruiserweight or light heavyweight because he has the talent and he has all the attributes. Man, is just commit your ass to it.
Yeah,
if he was to get into training camp and just he
reminds me of AB, Adrian Broner.
Oh, yeah.
Who don't want to put in he don't want to let his hands go, and he don't want to put in the work.
Regis called him a shot fighter.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about someone that had all the talent in the world, had everything going for him, every single thing going for him. And his Achilles heel has just been the layoff, the inactivity. And then when he does come back, there was rust. His timing was off, and your average Joe was going the distance with him, and he was even losing some of these decisions. I was a fan of his because I wanted him to compete at a high level. I've always thought maybe one day he'll fight Floyd, or maybe one day he'll fight Regis, and it just don't look like he's just stagnant now. It's just that money's going to run out, and I'd hate for him to come back a shell of himself for the money and put his life in jeopardy. I don't like to see when that happens.
Well, that's part of boxing.
Yeah.
That's been going on for a long time now. You know what I mean? And these fighters, they make all this money and then it runs out, and then they have to get out there and they gotta fight, and then they're at a disadvantage because they're either old or slower, and it's hard, man. I mean, the appearances and all that shit runs out after a while.
Well, unless you're Hector Macho Camacho Jr., who came out of nowhere and fought Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. And it was what it was. It was an exhibition and it was entertainment. And we'll talk about that later on. He's supposed to come on sometime next week because he just didn't come out on the show and tell everybody who he wants to fight. He just said, he's not done. But I'm not going to speak for him. I'll let the man speak for himself. I do want to end the show talking about the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury. There's only one Tyson Fury.
Tyson
Taking
Fury.
on Deontay Wilder, who can end the night with one single punch. The velocity of that right hand. When God was making man, and when God made Babe Ruth, when God made special people like Sugar Ray Leonard, when he made Muhammad Ali and Belair and Mark Spitz, who was one of these swimmers, when he made Deontay Wilder, I believe he was filling up the right hand and somebody called Jesus and he turned around. And when he did, more fuel kept going in that right hand. And he said, "Oh, my bad." And then he released him because that right hand is almost like that Bruce Lee punch. I mean, as soon as it touches you, it's a wrap. So for Tyson Fury to get up from the first time, it amazes me. Tyson Fury doesn't even know how he got up. That was just like muscle memory. And, they want to say that was the Undertaker, but it is what it is. What's your take on the trilogy? Deontay Wilder now says that he's mentally ready and that he's stress-free and he has the trainer that he needs. He now has the team that he needs. Is that the antidote that he needs to be victorious over the Gypsy King come July?
I think since July is not like right around the corner, literally.
Yes, sir.
I think, in my opinion, when I did a show about this probably about 3 or 4 months ago, and I didn't think that he should have took this fight. I think that when you have that many problems as a boxer, even though he was able to get away with it,
you're being fair calling them problems. Other people call them excuses, but we'll go with the problems.
Because of that right hand, he was able to get away with a lot of things that most boxers don't have that ability to do. So I thought that going down this path that he's going down, that's fine. You know what I mean? But don't think you're going to come in after been working out 6 months with your new trainer, Malik, and think that you're going to be able to beat somebody that's like a Muhammad Ali, but who's 7 feet tall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is intelligent. See, I'm going to tell you one thing that Tyson Fury did that a lot of people don't pay attention to. See, Tyson Fury was supposed to fight Wilder right at next. But he put off that fight for 3 fights. And he put in the work. He had to learn how to fight Wilder. And he used those fighters to learn how to fight Wilder. And he did that, and the results are what it is. You know what I mean? He is a very intelligent fighter. Now, in my opinion, this is what Wilder should have did after that second fight. He should have fought maybe three fights. Fight fighters that's similar to Tyson Fury's style in height. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And learn how to fight this man. Because if you don't learn how to fight this man, and if you don't get that, and if Tyson Fury able to, you know what I'm saying, use his boxing IQ and not get hit with that right hand, he's gonna be in for a long night, just like the last fight. And I'm a Wilder fan, but I gotta keep it real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the bottom line is that you cannot learn how to fight in 6 months or 7 months or 8 months. I mean, the skill set you need, the defense. You know what I mean? Learning to throw other punches other than that great 1-2 that he got. He got a great 1-2 in that little uppercut, but learning how to punch stiff jabs and up jabs and hooks and all the other stuff, and maybe 6-punch combinations and shit like that. Because that's something that you're gonna need. Because see, this is what people's not talking about. Even if you knock Tyson Fury down, I think every time I watch Tyson Fury fights, every time he's been knocked down, he got up even stronger.
Yes. because he's hit the canvas early in his career.
Right. And every time he got up and beat the shit out of the dude. So
yeah, he did.
It's like you might not even want to knock him out unless you're going to really knock him out. You know what I mean? And it's just, I just can't see it. I mean, I know Wilder's going to be coming on strong the first 4 or 5 rounds, but what happened after that? What's going to happen after that 5th round? What's going to happen? Because we know Wilder, the way he's been training, he's going to be amped up. And he's going to come after Tyson probably super wild, and he's going to be going crazy the first 4 rounds. But what's going to happen after that? It's a 12-round fight.
I agree. Tyson Fury being a bigger man, I mean, he's going to rest on you. He's going to lean on you, and you're going to feel the mass. You're going to feel that weight.
You're going to feel that 300 pounds, just like last fight. 300 pounds. He's going to put that 270, 300 pounds on you. And see, Tyson Fury, he knows how to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a boxer. He knows how to fight. He's just not no one-punch pony, like he said in the interview. You know what I mean? He actually knows how to fight, and that's dangerous.
Yeah. Very elusive. The man has a great defense, very smart, plays mental games, both inside and outside the ring. I mean, the man is a genius when it comes to the mental part of the games. He'll smile with you. He'll get you to do what you want to do. But at the end of the day, he's already working on you. Not only is he sizing you up, but he's working on you. He's working on every single mental part of the game.
Right. And he's focused.
Yes.
And he's watching every move that you make and all the moves that you don't make. And as soon as you make that wrong mistake, he calculates that. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. I'm telling you, that's the problem. These other fighters didn't have that genius that Tyson has. You know what I mean? These other fighters didn't have it. They like, when they got hit by Wilder, they was like, oh man, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? But Tyson Fury, he's putting on that extra weight so that if he do get hit, he's gonna absorb a lot of that punishment. You know what I mean? Maybe 70 pounds. He'd probably be bigger.
He said 300. He said I'm going to be 300 when we fight. Now I don't know if that's him saying that or what, or I mean, but he can hold it. He's 6'9".
Yep. And at the night of the fight, Tyson Wilder might be 230, and he's still going to be 70 pounds over that he got over Wilder. So, and he know how to use that weight.
I'm looking forward to that one, Rich. I mean, the energy was incredible. The energy was crazy. And I've always said to myself, even if I couldn't be at the fight, just to be around that aura, that energy, to say I was there when that happened. The fanfare, there's nothing like it, man. I can't explain it, man. It's almost
oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah, I don't want to give it a sexual term, man, but it's pretty darn close, man. I mean, it's right there.
You're right. And I can't wait.
I can't wait either, man. And I'm gonna be gym hopping when I'm there, and I'm gonna have to look you up. I'm gonna have to go hit up my friend Frank Castillo from Top Rank and see if I can contact with Shelly Swanson, and we can maybe try to sneak in there, man. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an FBI team. I'm going to get a team of 5. No, you know what, Rich? I'm going to get a team of 11 people to see if we can just follow Ali's setback wherever he's at.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the man is then, and see what he does. He'll bring lookalikes around him. You know what I mean? I go, that's Ali. No, I'll turn around. Like, Ali, what's up? That's not even him. It's a Chinese dude or a black dude or it's a Mexican dude, but they all look like Ali. Yeah. I'm thinking, Ali, how can you do 2 podcasts at the same time from 2 different venues at the same time? And he says live. He goes, I'm live in Japan. And they'll say, I'm live in LA and I'm live in Las Vegas. I mean, the man is everywhere. I'm exaggerating, but the man is everywhere. In my opinion, is the GOAT. Yeah,
he's the GOAT. He's everywhere, man. Right now, he's somewhere right now. I guarantee you he's somewhere right now.
Oh, yeah, he is. He is.
Yeah, I ran with him a couple times, and man, I couldn't keep up, man. That guy he's everywhere,
He's everywhere, and he's on the grind, and I take my hat off to him. I do want to say this. When you were off the show briefly, I do want to share this. There was one part of and I'll give him some props. He calls himself, and then that's all I'm going to give him is he calls himself the real Carnelo, the Carnelo lookalike. Well, anyways, he had a video footage of after after the Josh Taylor Ramirez fight. Mikey Garcia went up to Josh Taylor and he said, "Congratulations, that was one fine job. You did a great job. You earned it. You worked your butt off." Said something to that effect. And a lot of people just thought that, okay, he's being respectful. That's good sportsmanship. Yes, he was. But you know damn sure, Rich, when he shook his hand, fucking Mikey was sizing his ass up.
Oh, yeah.
Already. He was hugging him. I wanted to feel his power, wanted to feel his shoulders, wanted to see his awkwardness as a southpaw. Mikey was sizing up because Mikey was all up in his grill, making eye contact, saying, "Congratulations, you did good, man. Great job." And no, Mikey was
Yeah.
Right now, Mikey's looking and he's laughing. He said, "Rich, don't give my shit away right now." Mikey was sizing his ass up because he knows people that are great like that and dare themselves to be great, their paths are going to cross.
Right. And yeah, if he was doing that, I guarantee you he was sizing him up, and he was like, because a lot of it has to do with the reach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can look at a person's mannerism and style, and you can match yourself up with him, and you could tell if it's gonna be a hard fight, an easy fight, like Floyd used to do. He'd look at him and tell him, "Oh, that's easy work." You know what I mean? Just by his footwork. You know what I mean? So
Floyd's a genius, man. I mean, the mental part. I mean, you know, we could talk about, okay, that's a whole different show. We could talk about his boxing ability all day long. But if we were just talked about the business aspect of Floyd Mayweather, it would take the whole hour. And we wouldn't even discuss him putting the gloves on. Just his business side. I mean, he carries all that money around, but he probably didn't even pay for his house or anything because he's paying it all on capital.
Man, let me tell you, he said that he made $30 million before he even got into that last fight. Leading up to the fight.
The man's closing deals, making deals, and he just likes to see money. I mean, that's all there is to it. But everything's getting paid off on capital. I mean, it's just he is a genius when it comes to business. And people want to make fun of him. They made the argument of I don't even like talking about it because to me, I would never make fun of illiteracy to anybody or numbers to anybody. When Floyd Mayweather talks about business, when he talks about when he does do some small seminars, and he really doesn't, but he will show you some love or give you some fire, the man turns into a genius. The man turns into a professor. The man turns into an entrepreneur that's only giving you a little bit. Because if he gives it all to you, he can't give it all to you. Because you know why? Because he sees this competitive and he sees this as the ones I'm going to score. I see you as victims. So I'm not going to educate you there because I'm going to be working with you. I'll educate you after I leave. But I'm here to make money and make successful business deals.
And that's because numbers, you know, supersedes all that illiteracy. Like you were saying, like when you start talking business and talking money and talking numbers, a lot of people can't talk like that because they don't know business and they don't know numbers, they don't know stocks, they don't know investments, so they can't get on that level mentally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But see, he was schooled in my opinion, the right way, because you wanna have that versus the other. The other was good to have and have the plaques on the wall and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the degrees and all that stuff. but I would rather have this over here.
Absolutely.
Than this.
I'll take a master's degree in common sense all day long. I do not want a paper degree. You go out in the real world, you get fried because you don't live life at Starbucks or in a library.
Exactly. You're right. You're absolutely right.
You know, I want to be like when Kung Fu, when he says, "You're ready, grasshopper." When he said, "What hand's the rock in?" You know what I mean? Because he was hip on that. He was learning and learning and to be successful, man. I mean, you got to make mistakes and you got to be able to persevere. Floyd Mayweather's career started when he was not awarded the gold medal like he should have been awarded. That's when his career started. That's when he said, "You know what? This is not ever going to happen to me ever again because I'm going to put it in my own hands, not just in the ring, but outside of the ring. When I talk to my dad, when I talk to my kids, when I talk to my management team, when I talk to my sparring partners, when I walk inside of the ring, he took that robbery and now he's robbing everybody legally by outthinking them and outworking them."
Yep. And from that point, from like what you just said, the Olympics, he went. I think his record was 27 knockouts with 29 fights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you could literally see him as like almost a triple G at that point.
Yeah.
Because
People forget about that.
Yeah, people forget about that. But see, he knocked so many people out, his hands literally start breaking.
Those are facts right there.
Yeah.
Chiquito Hernandez. Oh gosh, God rest his soul. Corrales.
Yeah.
And these guys were all bangers.
Bangers, straight bangers.
And see,
and he was able to do that because his punching, Floyd, was like the perfect balance and perfect. He'll throw a perfect left hook. And if he catch you with that, it was good night. So versus when he switched and he went from being pretty boy to Money Mayweather. Hey, that was a transition.
Yes, it was.
He went from knocking people out to making money.
Yeah, exactly.
If you know boxing, I can't really be mad at Floyd for that because I know boxing. There's so many boxers that I talked to that had a great career, but now are broke.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have that money. They still got a little bit of fame, but they don't have the money, and that's huge. You know what I mean? In boxing.
He is so sharp and on top of things. He did a press conference, and I don't know if you've seen what he did. He had some like for example, I have some water here, Rich.
Right.
And this is the mentality that I got. I mean, I have the water. You can see I took the logo off.
Right.
Well, they're not paying me. So I'm not about to drink this and see the logo. I don't care if it's local or whatever the stuff. They're not paying me to do that. So
right.
I'm not going to just reveal that logo. Floyd Mayweather is getting ready to sit down at the press conference. There was 2 water bottles there with logos on there. And he said, did they pay? They go, I don't know. He got them and threw them behind him. I'm not going to endorse or stand with these 2 things here. They're not paying me.
Right.
That's his mentality from start to finish. The minute he wakes up and brushes his teeth, which he does got a perfect grill, by the way, till he goes to sleep. You have to think that way. That's the mentality that he has. He adopted it. The light switch never goes off.
But you know what? See, but that's the world that we live in.
Yes.
See, people are delusional. See, people think just because you're wearing Louis Vuitton didn't pay you to wear that.
That's right.
You walking around advertising their product, but they're not paying you to wear that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And see, that's why everybody can't get ahead because they don't understand marketing and business and money and how this world works. That's why when we talk about Floyd, it seems like he's weird at things that he does. But if you really think about it, the man made $100 million to fight a YouTube fighter.
In one night.
Hey, pay me $5,000. I take $5,000 to fight a YouTube fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%, man.
Yeah.
Well, Rich, you know what? It's come to that time right now, man. The long wait, you're on the show. I got to have you back. I like where this is going. I don't need a script. I don't need a questionnaire when I talk to you. You're a straight shooter.
Right.
I do want to end the segment with this, though. I do want to end the show with this. I didn't even get to my segments, but that's okay. My notes here, we had some segments, and my sponsors, I announced them in the front of the show. That's fine. I do want to say this. Who is the face of boxing and why? 2 names come to mind, 2 fighters for me. I want to ask you. Who is the face of boxing and why?
The face of boxing right now is I have to say Canelo. Canelo has because he's been consistent, you know what I mean? And being that I just saw the fight with Charlo last fight, and everybody have a bad night, but you can't mess with Canelo with that type of fight. You know what I mean? Yeah, you mess around, get knocked out. And that's just what it is. It's between him and honestly Tyson Fury. If Tyson Fury can keep his nose clean and keep winning, if he beats Wilder, then he beats Joshua, he could be the face of boxing, between him and Canelo.
Those were my 2. Tyson Fury and Canelo,
Yeah.
the face of boxing, and why. Tyson Fury, for what he brings, he lights up an arena. He has that swagger about him. He has that positive energy. He's very entertaining. He's very funny, but he's very heartwarming, warming at the same time. Kind of reminds me of a Conor McGregor who has that swag to him. But when you sit there and talk to him, he has a very soft heart and he's very humble.
Oh yeah.
He puts on that profile when it's fight time, because he has to not just convince himself, but his opponent, hey, they're about to get beat because you're fighting me. Canelo, for what he's doing now, he seems like a happier fighter, seemed to have his life in order. He just recently got married. He does a lot on his personal time as far as giving away and helping people, and he doesn't do it to be recognized. He just seems very happy now that he's calling the shots. Now has his own network, which is going to come out this Saturday of some fighters in Mexico. He's teamed up with DAZN and Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. It's a great marriage right now, not just
Right.
his personally. I mean, the man is happy. He's having fun. And when you have all those working for you, it's hard to be stopped. So I
Right.
see those two, and for what they're doing in boxing, and Tyson Fury, what he's been able to overcome. And he put himself in a place where a lot of people didn't think he would be, Rich, but he confessed it. He called things as if they're not as if they are. It manifested, it came to pass, and all the fruits. I mean, look at evidence of the fruits, and those are the belts.
That's real talk. I have to agree with you on that. I mean, we have runner up like Earl Spence. He's probably third in my opinion, but yeah, you know, those two are in mine right now. And I just see that Canelo is everything is on the up for him. You know what I mean?
I mentioned the other guys that if we're doing it on boxing ability, yeah, and I'm talking about what the way I was able to distinguish it is these guys can go anywhere around the world and be recognized.
Right.
So the last person to do that was well, I mean, still Mike Tyson is worldwide, but Muhammad Ali, hands down,
Yeah.
without a shadow of a doubt. Roy Jones was great, but Muhammad Ali would stop traffic. Muhammad Ali, a war would stop. Muhammad Ali would rescue and talk to hostages, and they would release them to him. Muhammad Ali would talk you off a balcony from getting ready to commit suicide. Muhammad
That's
Ali
real.
was ready to take the death penalty and life sentence of not ever competing again, because he was not going to give up on what he truly believed in, and to come back and not only just win the bout, but win it twice.
Right.
Like I said, these men are special, and I believe we're watching two special men right now in front of us, and that's possibly the greatest Mexicano fighter in the world, in Canelo, and right now Tyson Fury, who's making history and is a piece of history, and he right now he holds all the strings, man.
That's real talk. I have to agree with you. I mean, you know what I mean? And it's funny how me and you both came to the same conclusion. So independently. You know what I mean?
Well, iron sharpens iron, my man, and you know, I do think that we're just on the cuff of something great. I don't know where or when or why. I know we both got different platforms, but what we did tonight is only the tip of the iceberg, Rich. That I want you to give us some growth and some thought. And I know you got your platform. I know you got your dreams, but we can do something very special worldwide. I'm not here to take over Fresno. I'm not here to
Right.
take over Madera. I parked my car in Fresno. I'm thinking beyond Fresno. I'm thinking beyond. I want to go put ourselves in the mix in Las Vegas, LA, Philadelphia, Chicago. We'll go to Mexico. We'll go to Hawaii. We get on the stick right here and we talk boxing. It is what it is.
Right. Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you. You
All
know what I
right,
mean?
man. Okay,
Yeah.
I gave you some big dreams, man. Now let's put them let's give it
Let's
life,
make it
baby.
happen. Let's make it happen. I'm always right there. Let's do it.
I know you're always right there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show this evening. Once again, I want to thank our sponsors who help keep the lights on. That's criminal justice attorney Miles Harris in Fresno, California. We got Rico's Red Wave in Fresno, California, and Pound for Pound CBD endorsed by Mikey Garcia. I'm waiting for this to happen. I reached out to Regis and Mikey about coming on the show. And okay, what are they both going to say? No. Okay, it's not the end of the world. But if you don't dare yourself to be great, Rich, or challenge your platform, or you don't challenge yourself, like when I said 3 weeks ago, hey, it's a 50-50 chance we may have Tyson Fury on the show. That's what I was informed. His people said, I'm going to ask the big man to do me a solid. Well, I went out there and I believed in it. Did it happen? No, it didn't happen, but it's not the end of the world. There'll be more opportunities and there'll be more things for us to reach out for. I say that to come to this conclusion, man. I didn't just wake up in the morning to try to take second. I know you got Joe Rogan out there, and I know you have all these other outlets out there, and there's plenty to go around, and there's plenty of great speakers out there, man. But when you speak with your heart and you speak the truth and you surround yourself with great people, because a checkbook don't make you great. I don't care what you're saying. A brand new car doesn't make you great. Louis Vuitton isn't going to make you great. I'm talking about realness. I'm talking about hunger. I'm talking about desire. And most of all, I'm talking about loyalty and being truthful. When you're doing that and you have that, money can't buy that. Time can't buy that. You will succeed and you will be beneficial to those that are around you, and the rewards right in front of you. They don't got to come in dollar signs.
That's real talk.
Enough said. I'm gonna leave it with that. I'm your host, Richard Ortiz, the fighter's voice, the only voice that matters. Me and my man, we're simply knocking out the competition. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/the fighter's voice. And it's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
All right.
Don't miss out. Now you can listen to the Fighter's Voice podcast radio show on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio. New show, new topics, new look, bringing you the latest news. Every fighter has a voice, and so do you. For the hottest and latest in sports and entertainment, exclusive interviews with the biggest names in the sport of boxing and MMA.
I'm Robert Garcia. I'm Jose Ramirez. Hey guys, this is Mikey Garcia, and I'm here with
The Fighter's Voice.